After his schooling, Lenin matriculated through a slew of Marxist associations both in and outside Russia, without once ever holding a real job, might I add, where he first met a kindred spirit by the name of Leon Trotsky. Beginning as young rivals for editorial control over some kooky leftist publication, Lenin and Trotsky would develop a lifelong but complicated friendship. The classic depiction of their partnership was Trotsky as the brains of the operation and Lenin the balls. But modern scholarship suggests that on several occasions Lenin was the brains and Trotsky the balls. Still, no historian or biographer thus far has unearthed evidence to indicate either party ever was the heart. The place in their chest where a heart should have gone had been hollowed out and replaced with a heavy, tar-like substance called Marxism. Thus, they tended to stoop forward while speaking and gradually grew goat horns on their foreheads, which had to be concealed beneath various kinds of headwear. These are historical facts. Before long, Lenin and Trotsky rose to the top ranks of the Social Democrat Party, the leadership of which was almost entirely in exile, again, in highly capitalist countries like Switzerland. At the 1903 party conference, Lenin and Trotsky were divided on the question of intra-party discipline. Lenin argued that the public opinions of the party members should be kept under the strict control of the leadership, while Trotsky sided with Julius Martov, a well-meaning but hopelessly outmatched socialist who argued that party members should be free to voice their own opinions. I bet you can guess who won that pissing contest. As a result, the SDs were split into two wings, a majority or Bolshevik faction headed by Lenin, and a minority or Menshevik faction headed by Martov, with Trotsky joining the latter for the time being. He and Lenin would not speak for many years. After the failure of the 1905 revolution, of which neither Lenin nor Trotsky had any direct participation, Lenin's advocacy for violent insurrection began to draw supporters. In Russia, small cells of Bolshevik agents began to openly conduct acts of terrorism, as well as to rob banks, trains, post offices, and so on. One young Bolshevik in particular proved highly adept at this disreputable work. A relatively unknown figure at the time, born Yosef Yugashvili, but remembered now and forever as Stalin. Stalin would become one of Lenin's chief henchmen in those early days, although Lenin himself remained exiled abroad. Trotsky spent his time slipping into and out of Russia, while making a name for himself as an eloquent and persuasive public speaker. He also pioneered a certain revolutionary chic that communists ever since have sought to imitate. You know, the whole black leather trench coat thing with the beard, the mustache, the crazy unkempt hair. The spitting image of an intellectual gangster, which is basically all the Bolsheviks were. He would remain probably the sexiest communist around until this Latin stallion blew him totally out of the water. Oh yes, Daddy. Liberate me. Liberate my filthy bourgeois hoe.
They journeyed far to rock and mountain pinnacle, a gathering of dread and awesome spectacle. Each in his hand a candle of black, their faces grew